evening, everyone. My name is Leela Ravichandran, and I'm a friend of Rohini's. And we'd like to begin the launch now, the event now. So it is my distinct pleasure to welcome everybody today, each and every one of you. I would like to extend a very special welcome to our two chief guests, Dr. Vidya Yeravdekar and Dr. Madhuri Joshi, to this beautiful gathering. I would like to request Dr. Joshi and Dr. Yeravdekar to please come on stage. Thank you. We'd like to welcome you with a token of appreciation. We are gathered here this evening to unveil and formally launch the book of short stories penned by Ms. Rohini Paranjpe Sathe. Ms. Paranjpe Sathe is a multifaceted personality. She is a linguist, a fantastic musician blessed with a mellifluous voice, a superb homemaker, an economist, a doting mother and mother-in-law, and a caring wife. Not many are aware that her opinions were sought after and were also aired by the BBC in an interview not so long ago. I'd like to introduce the two chief guests. Dr. Vidya Yeravdekar is the Principal Director of Symbiosis Society, which encompasses the Symbiosis schools and institutions under the Symbiosis International University, of which she is the Pro-Chancellor. Established by her father, Dr. S.B. Mujumdar, who dreamed of creating a home away from home for international students, Symbiosis has expanded and transformed into a multidisciplinary, multinational, multicultural, international university with students not only from all states of India, but also from 85 different countries. Dr. Vidya Yeravdekar holds a postgraduate degree in medicine, a degree in law, and a PhD in internationalization of higher education in India. Her vision to promote international understanding through quality education, her foresight and leadership have been instrumental in creating strategic collaborations with universities across the globe for student and faculty mobility. She has been able to influence policy regulations for promoting and introducing innovative approaches to higher education in India through her appointments to the University Grants Commission, Central Advisory Board of Education, and Indian Council for Cultural Relations. She has also worked with universities and state governments across the country. She's a member of many corporate bodies, such as the Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industry, Confederation of Indian Industry, Maratha Chambers of Commerce and Industries, and the not-for-profit organizations like H.K. Firodia Foundation, India International Center, Pune International Center, and the Pune Citizens Police Foundation. Recently, she was ranked number 14 among India's top 25 powerful women by Fame India magazine. Dr. Vidya has also received numerous awards and accolades and has presented papers at various national and international conferences with diverse research publications to her credit. She has authored a book on internationalization of higher education in India, based on her experiences and research in this field. Dr. Vidya is now focused on making Symbiosis International Deemed University benchmarked amongst one of the best universities in Asia. I would like to invite Dr. Yeravdekar to kindly address the gathering.
A very good evening to all of you gathered here. There are a lot of distinguished people on the dais, off the dais, and honestly it's quite embarrassing for me when my father is sitting in the audience and I'm here on the dais addressing you all. So probably this is one of the rarest occasions, and I think I must thank Shirish for this. This is probably the first occasion when I am on the dais and he's not. Rohini is now a good friend, and I say now because my relation with her is through two people. One, of course, Shirish, who's a dear friend of Rajiv and me, and also my mentor at times when I feel whatever that I feel, and I have to go to his clinic, and a few words from him, then fine with me. And of course, Dr. Rajni Gupte, our Vice Chancellor, who's also a very close colleague of Rohini. So we all know Rohini as a very accomplished singer and writer now. Shirish used to keep sending me all the blogs that she writes, and excellent creative writing, I must say. And now this book, which is going to be launched today, of Swans and Songs. And the title of the book is something that, when you pick up the book, you wouldn't understand. But as you go through the wonderful stories that are written in the book, there are 7 stories, and they're not short stories, they're pretty long stories. And 7 stories with about 356 pages. So you can imagine each story must have taken a long time for her to, write. But they are excellent. They are, you can't keep the book down simply because you actually get immersed in each of the story. And when I say you get immersed in each of the story, it means that, you feel that you're a part of the story. So when you read short stories, and all of us love to read, we've read Meena Prabhuji's books, which she has authored, and several other authors over here. But when you read stories, you actually read a narrative. But whereas when you read the stories that Rohini has written, they are also with a lot of dialogues. And so when you read those dialogues, you feel you're a part and you're actually in it. It's almost like watching a play or watching a movie. Because when you actually watch a nice movie, you feel you're a part of that movie or you're part of the play. And it is exactly like this. When you go through these stories, you feel that you're a part of it. The language is very good. I mean, if you look at the English, it's excellent, but it is also simple. It's something like you and I talk, so therefore you feel you're in that episode, or you're in that story when you're actually reading it. Some of the words or some of the surnames that she has used are also so familiar, which makes you again feel that you're a part of it. And some of the words that she's used, she's actually dared to use some of the words which generally are not used in text. But again, because of those words which are used by some teenagers in the stories, you again feel that yes, you do listen to such words which you generally don't read in books. So it is great reading. But I must compliment Rohini, because even if someone just described her as a homemaker and a wonderful wife and a wonderful mother and a mother-in-law, but to write a book is hard work. It's not easy. I mean, something can come to your mind, but to pen it down into words is difficult. We just went through a book release function of my mother having written a book on my father. I can imagine the number of hours she spent. So much so that my father in his speech did say that he felt neglected, because she used to spend about 3 to 4 hours every day of serious writing in her office. And at times my children, which are her grandchildren, used to really laugh and say, "Ki, what is this? I rose down to evda kai lihtes?" But those 4 hours of intense writing, actually conceptualized into a biography of Dr. Muzumdar. And therefore I know how it is. I wrote a book which is my research, Internationalization of Higher Education in India. And I wouldn't get time in Symbiosis, so my travel to Delhi gave me 4 hours, 2 hours going and 2 hours coming, which actually, transformed into this book. So when you write a book, it is really hard work. It's not easy. It's not something that will come to your mind and you just pen it down. You could write a diary like that, but when you write a book which is for public reading, then you have to think twice and 3 times and 4 times and probably 10 times of the words, of the language, of the creative skills, and just about everything, because you're actually narrating something that the public is going to read, and not only read, but that's going to reflect on your personality as well. So when you read someone's book, it actually portrays that person's personality. And then, when you read this book, you will know what is in the mind of Rohini when she wrote the book. Did she go through these experiences which made her write these stories? So several thoughts come to your mind, and therefore one has to be very careful, when you actually decide to write a book. and then write a book that can be published and then of course released, and then it goes to public reading. When Pratibha Tai Patil, the Honorable former President of India, came to released the book that my mother wrote, what she said was something that really caught my ears. And she said that as a president, and even as a former president, we generally don't go for book release functions. And the reason is that she said that when you release a book, it actually means that you also kind of go with the text of the book. So when you are the President of India, you generally don't accept book releases unless you really have trust and faith in the writing of the person. And of course, not that any one of us are of that stature that she is, but nevertheless, when you go for a book release, you've already read the book and you've liked it, and you also go by the thought process of the author. And I think at this stage, I think I am in that thought process. When you actually have read the stories, I have not really read all the 7 stories, I have read 4. And the one that I liked was, The Messenger, because there's a lot, that is said. And another thing about the stories is at the end of every story, there's something that you take back. And it probably, I would have taken back something and you would have taken back something else. So the beauty of these stories is that you actually take back something home, or there's something like not like a moral of the story really, but something that you feel that has come out of the story. So every story is different. Every narrative is different. There are wonderful dialogues. And, Rohini, it's almost like you're doing your PhD. I said this to my mother as well, that poor thing, because she was rearing us up and she was actually doing her PhD. And she could not complete her PhD, but, the book that she wrote is like a thesis, like a PhD thesis. And I think for every person who writes a book of this, of this size with 356 pages, I think it's almost like getting a PhD. In English literature. So it is important that, the audience knows that it's not just about writing a book, but it's about a lot of hard work. And here I would also like to congratulate Shirish for giving her the space to write, because, husbands are demanding. I don't know how demanding he is, but family members are demanding, friends are demanding, and husbands are surely demanding. So to give that space, to write, to your wife to write a book, to give that, to encourage her to do so, is also something that we must, thank Shirish for. I'm sure all of you will enjoy this reading. This is probably her first book, if I'm not mistaken, and there will be many more to come, because the kind of blogs that she writes, I think each and every blog would probably lead to some kind of book in years to come. And I'm very happy that, as an economist who studied at the Gokhale Institute, Rajas is here, and several people from, former alumni of Gokhale would be here. It's not easy for a person who's so well educated at a premier economic school of the city to have not done, economics or not pursued economics, but have probably did take care of the family, tried to pursue her own passion, which is music, and now shifting from music to, writing. So it takes a great, it takes a great courage really to do things that you are passionate about, and it's not very easy for, so many of us are passionate about several things, but it's not easy to just leave the routine and, try and pursue what you're passionate about. So Rohini, hats off to you to pursue 2 professions, one music and the second, writing. Again, 2 complementary professions. I'm happy that she's pursued what is close to her heart, and I'm sure she will be successful in life. A day will come when, she'll be reckoned as one of the best authors, not just of the city, but of the country, and that day is not too far. Thank you very much for inviting me for this function.